Meghan Kober from US Bank. So good to have you here.
So great to be here.
Welcome to Austin
Thank you.
in South by.
Love Austin. First time at South by.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
Fantastic. Yeah. I love Austin, and now with all the tech and music and film and culture, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you grew up in Minneapolis.
Grew up in Minneapolis.
Where'd you go to school?
Yeah. I went to Maple Grove and
Okay.
yeah, and Hamlin University
Hamlin.
in St. Paul.
Who is Hamlin's mascot?
Piper.
Piper.
Yes.
Is Piper a person?
It's it's a like story of a person who blows a flute.
Oh, right. The Piper.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
leading people.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen your mascot on NCAA, any ESPN things.
Yeah, no, we're not on ESPN.
I know.
It's a small school, so yes.
And is it in Minneapolis?
It's in St. Paul.
In St. Paul, you
Yeah.
said that. Okay. So you've pretty much born and raised.
Born and raised.
That's
Yep.
so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, second person I talked to, and of course I know Jason with Alloy Labs
Yes. Yeah.
is in Minneapolis these days. We have some clients in Minneapolis, so love that town.
I love Minneapolis. It actually reminds me a lot of Austin, actually, with the river and great food, great music, but the weather is definitely better here in Austin.
Yeah, this time of year.
Yeah, this time of year. Yeah.
I grew up in Detroit, so I'm grateful for today.
Yeah.
As-
Yeah. Me too.
For those that are listening, today is what, like, it's going to be 60, sunny,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Nice. How did you get started in fintech?
Oh gosh. Well, I went to school with accounting and marketing with intention to be a CPA, and took those exams and decided that the CPA route was not what I wanted to do. So it was obvious that I should try out my marketing degree, and went to an advertising agency and learned a lot about healthcare. Actually, I worked with Optum and United Healthcare on digital media and how to brand and market and get their word out, and then decided that wasn't for me either. So my sweet spot right in the middle was finance, and went to Ameriprise, where I was in money movement, and we were building our own money movement capabilities internally. And that's where I really learned more about technology and innovation and building products. Actually built kind of a Domino's pizza tracker of operational metrics in the back office.
Cool.
I
didn't know there was such a thing. That's cool.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of systems, and they obviously, don't all talk to each other. And so I connected all the data in the back end so that you could see where each of those requests were at any given time, and make process improvements to speed things up and give transparency into what's going on.
That is so cool. And did that carry you into your work at US Bank?
Yes. And that's what got me passionate about technology and innovation and just the power of technology. And so I got more involved in the community and with events in Minneapolis. And that's actually how I met David Ness, my current manager, through Twin Cities Startup Week and some other communities in Minneapolis. And ever since I met David, I have just been pinching myself that this is my dream career. And I'm very grateful to be able to be doing this, especially in Minneapolis. Because when I say fintech, a lot of people don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In a small Midwestern town. So it's a great time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, and I have a follow-on question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at US Bank's innovation team and work across many different business lines to understand their needs, pain points, priorities, and roadmaps. And then I go into our large ecosystem of venture capital firms, corporate accelerators, and startups, and I pair us together. And so I help out entrepreneurs to get their products to market, and we accelerate innovation at US Bank.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun. So when I was talking with David yesterday, one stat that I thought was pretty amazing, I think he'd said 363 partners, maybe active partners, I'm not sure, but I can only imagine. So you're a consultant in the sense that you're identifying a need.
Yes.
And then you're a business developer because you've got to have your pipeline and you got to have your network.
Yes.
And then you're a matchmaker.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What a cool job.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's It was a big learning curve, but because there's a lot of things, wear a lot of hats. But it's really incredible to be able to work on so many different things, and each day is a new opportunity to learn something, which is really cool. So
I was going to ask you, what is there anything? How would you describe, like, what do you love most about it?
Oh, well, I really love like the flywheel effect of like being in a large organization and being like an entrepreneur. So, understanding the needs and pain points of our business lines who are typically like putting out the fires of the daily basis. And don't necessarily always have the ability to like think or space to think 5, 10 years out in the future, or even work with or understand like who is out in the market and what are some innovative products out there. And so I think that is one of the things that I really, really like about my job is that being in a large organization and then helping entrepreneurs and startups, because when we innovate our products, we meet the needs of our customers. And then ultimately, we're helping those startups build and create jobs and give back to their communities as well. So
The startups, is it, I'm sure it's global, but
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have particular communities you'd like to work in, or is it just global? You find fintech potential partners?
Yeah. So because we're US Bank, we're primarily based in the United States. So a lot of fintechs that we work with are based in the United States. And then we do have some partners that we work with over in Europe, actually, because especially around in London with the open banking and open data, they're a little bit more advanced in that area. And so we can see the trends that are happening over there and bring them over to the United States. So that's really fun. But yeah, most of our sweet spots of startups that we work with is about like a Series B, because typically they have a good product market fit and have some clients that they've been through like third party risk management already. And it seems to be a good partnership that way.
So I assume though you're getting introduced at early stage in some cases, really early,
Yeah.
B seed.
Yeah.
But once they get into an A and a B, you're saying that they're a little bit more proven.
Yep.
And they've been through all of those compliance checks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so our team is introduced to them at seed, which is a little bit early to introduce them to the business lines, but we keep in touch with them and see how their product develops and pivots and provide mentorship and advice kind of based on where they're going. And then once they're in that like sweet spot, then we make the intros to our business
I
line.
really like yours and David's job.
It's fantastic. Yeah, we like to say we have the best jobs in the bank.
Boy.
Yes.
Given that it sounds wonderful, but are there challenges? What are some of the challenges you're facing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned earlier of like the business lines are really focused on today. And so sometimes you'll come to them with a solution or a company and they'll be like, where are you coming from with this idea? Because this seems really, really wild and out. And so just like taking a step-by-step approach of just like, what's the next step? What's the next step? Because a lot of times in innovation, it's really blurry. And so you don't actually know where the end goal is, but you might not know the path to get there. And so just at least like learning and evaluating each step that you go through is probably like the best way to kind of overcome those challenges.
Yeah, I can imagine it's complex. And then working in a major bank,
Yes.
we talked a lot about banks have to do it right all the time. Like there's no room for error.
Yes.
But yet in your side of the business, you're constantly evaluating new opportunities that are maybe yet somewhat unproven.
Yes.
I got to imagine that's a challenge too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is like being in innovation is understanding like frameworks, really thinking of like being a scientist actually of like, what's my hypothesis in this situation? And what is the easiest way to test this and see if it's going to move forward into the next step? And so we take innovation very like risk-based. So like what's our risk-based hypothesis and how do we test that? That's typically done through like proof of concepts or proof of value, just especially with like early stage companies too, just like making sure that, the technology that they say and what they do and the claims that they have, it is aligned to what we're looking to do. And then we move forward into more like commercial terms after we have kind of tested all the hypotheses out. And in terms of like partnerships, like the most interesting part isn't necessarily like the strategic fit or the technology, because that's really easy to prove out. A lot of times where the rubber meets the road is that cultural fit. And so just making sure that the company that we're working with is collaborative, and that their values are aligned to our values, and that there's good alignment there.
Yeah, and it's got to make sure it really aligns well. Is there anything you'd like to share that maybe people don't know about US Bank that you'd like them to know?
Oh, well, I would just say that US Bank is really doing some really cool things in the community around ecosystem building and creating entrepreneurship. I have the pleasure of working with business banking, and I not only work with startups for the fintech to accelerate our capabilities, but I really appreciate what these entrepreneurs are doing, and how we can support them from like a business banking standpoint, but also innovation of like education and working with accelerators and getting them connected to venture capital, because where there might not be an opportunity that US Bank can support, where we can leverage our network and our opportunities, is something that we like to give back to the community.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you're working with early stage companies. It's something at Customer that we do a lot. We love working with good, vision oriented companies that are looking to make a positive impact through the products and services they're offering. And it's often really hard, as you know, in talking to these folks, early stage folks, to be successful, to get through the seed to an A, and then even into a B, like that. It's tough.
It is very tough.
It's really hard. And so you guys are going through, and I love the process by which you guys test. We do a lot of hypothesis testing in digital. We're able to do that really quickly, and it's fun. Is there a particular like direction you see fintech going? Like when you think about some of the leading indicators for what you probably see every day at US Bank. I know we can't predict the future,
Yeah.
but curious, like where you see it going from here.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about this trend of B2B software. We've obviously been in it for a long time, but I'm seeing this shift of B2B, and I just think that it's like a magical a shift, and something I'm really excited about, because not only do we kind of, with the B2B like partnership with a large organization, it helps drive innovation. I mean, as you can imagine, US Bank, it takes a long time to like develop products and get those to market internally. And so being able to test and learn very quickly with startups is something that we really like to do. And then it also helps the startups because they are not having to go out and acquire customers through like large advertising budgets. And they're able to focus on the product and get it out to scale so that they can test and learn and tweak even better. And so I'm really excited about kind of this flywheel effect that's going into motion right now.
Yeah, that's cool. You're probably helping launch and establish some of these earlier stage fintechs just through the work they're doing with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also very like, it's kind of double-edged sword in a way of like, when you start working with fintechs, obviously the financial market is very small, and word gets out very quickly. And so it's great that we're able to accelerate startups that we partner with and are super passionate about as a leading indicator to the market that they're a good fit. But then if you're a first mover, obviously, and that something, is out of your control, that's also something that we have to be aware of too.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. You have such a cool background. Anybody, like, what advice might you give somebody that is thinking about entering the fintech space or wants to get started in financial services?
Yeah. Well, I would just say, like, just jump in and get started. Like, I love podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts is the Tim Ferriss podcast. I also loved Jason's Breaking Bank. I think that's really, really cool as well. But I think just like in terms of like getting started, just start somewhere and make a like I call it a high vibe and a low vibe list of like on a weekly basis. I reflect like, what was really high vibe this week? Like, what did I like to do that set me on fire, that I just got so in the zone? And what was low vibe? And sometimes you can't necessarily eliminate all of the low vibe things, but at least like think about next time this happens, how can you create some like boundaries or different kind of areas to kind of overcome those, and then just test and learn. And
Yeah.
just keep evolving. Just like products, like you can design your own life.
That's so cool. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing.
Yeah,
Super fun
absolutely.
chatting with you. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
US Bank.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you'd like to learn more about Customer and the work we're doing building financial and fintech brands and businesses, please visit our website, customer.com. That's cstmr.com. Or you can find us interacting with clients and sharing insights on LinkedIn. All of these links will be in the show notes.